Once upon a time, in a small and lively town in Nigeria, there were two neighbors who lived right across from each other. Their houses stood side by side, their windows almost touching, and their doors always open to one another. These two neighbors each had a daughter, Amina and Tolu. Amina and Tolu were more than just neighbors, they were best friends. They grew up playing in the dusty streets together, running barefoot through the fields, chasing butterflies, and climbing the big mango trees in the middle of their streets. They laughed together, cried together, and even got into small fights over who would get the bigger piece of roasted corn from Mr. Jacob's old side store. From a young age, they did everything together. They attended the same primary school, sitting side by side in class. When they moved on to junior secondary school, they were once again placed in the same class, as if fate itself knew they were inseparable. The bond only grew stronger when they both gained admission into the same boarding school for girls. In the dormitory, they shared a bunk bed, Amina at the top and Tolu at the bottom. They whispered secrets late into the night about boys they liked, about their dreams of becoming successful, and about how they would remain best friends forever. Years passed, and they both worked hard in school. Amina was always the one with the top grades, winning awards during school assemblies. Tolu did well too, but not as well as Amina. Still, there was no envy between them. When it was time for university, they both passed their entrance exams and were admitted into one of the best universities in Nigeria. Their parents were proud, their neighbors cheered, and the whole town celebrated the two brilliant girls. After university, they both began job hunting. Amina, with her usual grace and brilliance, got a job at a big oil company first. But she didn't forget her best friend. She spoke to her boss about Tolu, and not long after, Tolu was also employed at the same company. People often whispered that the two friends were more like sisters. "Are you sure they are not blood sisters?" the neighbors would ask. Amina and Tolu laughed whenever they heard that. They shared everything, food, clothes, and even secrets about their relationships. But something slowly began to change. One day, Amina received a promotion at work. The company sent her abroad for 6 months for special training. She was overjoyed and hugged Tolu tightly. "When I come back, I will bring you lots of gifts," she promised. True to her word, when Amina returned from abroad, she brought bags full of beautiful clothes, perfumes, and jewelry. Everyone was happy for her. Not long after, suitors began to line up for Amina. Handsome young men came knocking, asking for a hand in marriage. Some were rich, some were kind, and all of them seemed to want Amina. One day, Amina was invited to a grand birthday party. She had the perfect dress but needed shoes to match. Tolu had a stunning pair of heels that fit perfectly with the dress. "Please, can I borrow your shoes?" Amina asked. Tolu smiled. "Of course," she replied. "Are we not sisters? I mean, I borrow your stuff all the time." At the party, everyone admired Amina's outfit. "Oh, look at those shoes," people whispered. "She looks like a queen." But from that day forward, strange things began to happen. Amina fell ill suddenly. It started with a headache, then she began to throw up blood. She was rushed to the hospital, but the doctors found nothing wrong. Back at work, things got worse. People who once greeted her warmly now avoided her. Even her boss, who once praised her, began to frown whenever he saw her. One morning, she was called into a meeting and falsely accused of stealing company money. "What? Me? Steal?" Amina was in shock. Two of Amina's serious suitors, men who once chased after her, stopped picking her calls for no reason. Amina, confused and broken, sat alone one evening, staring at the sky. "Something is not right," she whispered. "But what is it?" As the days passed, Amina's health worsened. She fainted often and had terrifying dreams. One morning, she woke up with a sharp pain in her leg. When she looked down, her feet were swollen so large that she could barely move them. Her legs grew heavier and heavier, and gradually, they began to smell horribly. Amina could no longer go to work. She lost her job after being accused without proof and was forced to return to the village. She spent her days sitting under the big tree near her house, crying softly. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky orange, a kind old man passed by. Seeing Amina crying, he stopped. "My daughter," the man said softly, "do not cry. The cause of your pain is someone close to you. Someone very close to you." Amina's heart pounded loudly. "Someone close to me?" she asked. "But who?" The old man prayed for Amina and gave her some local medicine made from leaves. He told her to stay strong and believe that she would be healed. Strangely, after 7 days, her legs slowly began to heal. The swelling went down, the smell disappeared, and she could walk again. But something even more shocking happened on the 7th day. Tolu fell terribly ill. She could barely stand, and her leg began to wither and darken. In her weakness, Tolu sent for Amina, and after about 3 days, Amina arrived at the city. When Amina entered the room, her heart was pounding. "What is happening to Tolu?" she asked, her voice shaking. Tears streamed down Tolu's face. "Amina," she whispered, "I have something to tell you." Amina took a step closer. "What is it?" "I did this to you," Tolu cried. "I was jealous. Jealous of everything, your grades, your job, your trip abroad, even the suitors who wanted to marry you." Amina's mouth fell open. "What are you saying?" Tolu continued, "I went to a herbalist the night before the party. I knew you would ask for that shoe because it fits the dress better than all your shoes, so I saw it as a perfect opportunity to strike. I told him I wanted you to suffer. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Amina couldn't believe her ears. "You, my best friend, the one I trusted with my secrets, the one I brought into my workplace, I could trust you with my life." Tolu sobbed uncontrollably. "I'm sorry. Please forgive me." Amina walked out of the house. She went to a former colleague's place and spent the night there. But she couldn't sleep all night. She knew the pain she went through, and yet Tolu's pain was 7 times worse than hers. Should I take her to the man who healed me, or should I allow her to suffer the consequences of her evil? She thought to herself. After about 3 days of thinking, she couldn't leave her in that horrible situation. "She's my best friend. I'll forgive her, but will be very careful with her." So she took her to the old man who prayed for her, and he gave her the same native medicines. She gradually recovered, but he warned her not to do evil again, or else she would die. Though she was healed, Tolu lost and left the food she had eaten. She became too frail. From that day, Tolu lived with the reminder that jealousy is like a fire. Once it starts, it can burn everything in its path. And Amina? She learned to be careful with whom she trusted, but her heart remained kind and forgiving. Tolu, now with her left foot gone, sat quietly in her home for days. The once lively girl who used to walk side by side with Amina now moved with a crutch. Her face was pale, and her heart was heavy. Amina, though still broken by her best friend's betrayal, visited her every day. She brought food and water, and sometimes, she just sat silently by her side. "Why do you still come here?" Tolu asked one evening, her voice a meek whisper. Amina looked at her friend, her eyes soft. "Because, despite what you did, we grew up together. You are like my sister, and sisters don't abandon each other." Tolu blinked back tears, but deep down in her heart, a small bitter flame still flickered. The jealousy wasn't gone, it only grew quieter, hiding beneath the surface. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Amina rebuilt her life. She found a new job at an even bigger company, one that valued her skills and treated her well. To everyone's surprise, Amina's new boss was a kind and wealthy man named Obiora. He was tall, with a booming laugh and a heart as wide as the river. Obiora took a liking to Amina, not just for her work, but for her humble spirit. He often invited her to high-end events and praised her intelligence to everyone who would listen. Rumors started to spread through the town. "Did you hear? Obiora might ask for Amina's hand in marriage." The whispers grew louder, like the rustling of palm trees before a storm. Tolu heard them, and with each new piece of gossip, her jealousy started to burn once again. And so, the cycle of jealousy, friendship, and betrayal continued in the little town. Double tap if you'd never lend your shoes after the story. High-heeled shoe fire. Don't miss the next story. Hit subscribe before your enemies do. Winking face bell.